Good afternoon, San Antonio basketball officials. Mark Villa here. Sorry, I'm unable to get on the actual meeting and do a presentation today. I'll be on the road coming back from a basketball game, but Diana had asked me to put a presentation together to go over some clips, basically just touching on positioning and movement. Those are the kind of the biggest trends that I've seen through all evaluations and ball games I've either watched on film or been a part of or stayed and watched games throughout the season. I did want to touch real quick, just give you some information as far as where we're at on the evaluations. We've currently done 12 games, which is 36 officials. I'm about to send out the next three, which will get us at 15 games, 45 officials, and then hopefully get another three out there. So we should exceed 50. I think it'll be 54 referees that we've got done. The goal each year is to do 50 to 75. Obviously, this year has been a little different due to COVID, and the games have been a little slim compared to usual, and just a lot of other things going on. So that's where we're at as far as that. I think they've gone really well, very receptive from the referees that have got them. I have got a lot of questions of, I didn't know I was getting evaluated. Well, that is the purpose of it. For y'all that don't know, what happens is I look at who needs to be ranked or who's up for ranking, or just officials that we feel that need to be ranked. And then I will go find them on Arbiter, and then I contact the coaches from a game that could have happened, that night, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, whatever it may be. Then I'll get the film, and then I just take that film and I download it to my laptop, send it off to DDR, and then Martin Cotto, the director over there, will then take that, give it to an NBA referee. They'll break down the film, send it back to Martin. Martin puts in a PDF file to me, and then I send it out to the referees. Asking the crew chief to facilitate some kind of post games through those videos. And then I sent a separate score to them. And then that also is sent to the rate committee, and we made some updates. What I can say is everybody's score has either stayed the same or improved. I can tell you that. So that's been something really positive. And we haven't had to make many changes to people's scores. I can tell you that. The way the process was working as far as how we could change the scores as a committee is if a score came back and myself, Marvin, and Charlie just didn't really agree with that score, some flags kind of jumped up, then we'd go look at the film, kind of see what was going on. And we haven't had to do that much. I can say that most, but the majority of referees have improved on their scores, or again, they've stayed the same. So that's something that's been really positive. It's been some growing pains with them. We had some issues with some wording that they used, and we understand it. There's going to be some situations as far as NBA terminologies and the way they break down films and how we do things with high school. But DDR have been very receptive to it. They've been open, and we've given them honest feedback. I know Diana had a Zoom meeting with Martin as well, and that went really well, positive. So again, this is something that we're going to continue to use. I think it's a great tool. It's been very positive so far. If you do have any questions or anything as far as the rate committee, please reach out to me whenever you have some time, and I'll be more than happy to do that. I know a lot of you have asked to get ranked, and I have you on the list. Don't worry. But we've got to be, we obviously can't get everybody done, and we've got to be, careful how and wisely how we're spending our money to DDR. But obviously next year we'll be able to get a lot of referees that we feel have grown this year, and we feel next year that actually will be better for them to get ranked, because then they'll have a higher score. So again, any questions on that, feel free to reach out to me. I do want to dive into the film aspect and the clips and the breakdown. Again, it just comes back to our fundamentals, and positioning and movement can always help our accuracy obviously get a lot higher. When we're in bad positioning and we don't get open looks and we have closed looks, then we're either guessing or we're just not putting whistles on plays that are illegal. So the first thing I want to go over is, I'm just going to go over trail and center, and then some press coverage. I don't want to overload too much. There's going to be a total of 9 clips. I'll go through them. I know I'm going to miss stuff. That's fine. And this will be on YouTube, so we can start a dialogue. People can put comments there. And if Diana wants to have some referees add some things to it, just want to keep it pretty simple for all. It is going to be 3-person mechanics, but again, 2-person officials can still learn from this. And if you do have questions as far as how things should work on 2-person, reach out to myself or reach out to Henry, and we can certainly help you with that. All right, so I'm just going to share my screen here real quick and dive into these clips. So the clips I have right here, again, we're going to go over 3 clips on trail. And then we're going to go over the C position and we'll talk about some press coverages. So the first video, again, I'll turn the sound off, pop this up for you. Again, these are trends that we're seeing a lot. I did go through DDR, all the 12 games they've done. And on every single one, I've seen trail positioning, because what they do is they send me the clips, that each clip that they put on the breakdown, they send me those. And then I put them on my external drive and I can save them. And every time I see trail positioning, center positioning, trail positioning, and every single evaluation we've had. So I was like, okay, these are the two main things that are now there is some rotation pieces. I'll touch on another one, but trail and center is definitely our issue here. And I think what's happening is that we're just either getting too disconnected from the play or we're getting ahead of the play. So in this situation, obviously the play is on the other side of the floor and we're coming up the floor and trail is directly behind. So when this ball gets over here, we need to work, and I've talked to Martin about this and all the NBA referees saying that as a chapter, we're not very consistent on working sideline orientated. What does that mean? We got to work closer to the sideline and not so far on the floor. Now, I know a lot of referees are transitioning from 2-person to 3-person, and you're going to work more on the middle of the floor because you don't have center on the other side. But when we're working 3-person mechanics, we do need to work more sideline orientated. So as you can see here, we're directly behind, and we never get to the sideline and we never get this look. When we see the camera angle, here's the look right here is where we need to see. Obviously, trail's too far back, disconnected, and they're seeing backs. We've talked about this a lot. If we see backs, we see numbers, we need to move. So all we need to do is just continue to work down, stay connected, and we need to get to this 28-foot line. That's our home base. We should be able to get here, and then we can see through this. I'm not going to talk about judgment on this, okay? I'm not even going to go over that whistle. All I'm going to talk about is this is the look that we have when illegal contact. If we have a blocking foul or we have an offensive foul, I'm not going to get into that. The problem is our positioning is bad. We don't have an open look and we just guess. We're going to not have a very high accuracy on this because we don't have all the information. We don't have the open look. Again, if we get to here, 28-foot line, we can see through offense and defense. Whatever decision you have, that's fine. Your judgment is your judgment. We talk about it all the time. But if we can get into positions to see these type of plays, then we're going to, again, our accuracy will be a lot higher. So we need to work more sideline and we need to work deeper. We're too high at trail at times, and we need to try to get to that 28-foot line when we can. All right. Of course, I missed some stuff, but that's just the basic one on this one. Just keep it pretty simple. Is positioning and movement can help us get this play correct. Next clip. Again, we're going trail. Sorry. It's going to be trail and transition coming up the floor. We do this a lot. We step onto the floor before the ball's even been inbounded. A good tool that a lot of us have talked about, I learned this at camp, is let's stay off the court until the ball passes free throw line extended. So right here where these players are, let's take this free throw line extended. We're going to stay out of bounds until the ball is passed beyond there or ball handler dribbler passes a free throw line extended. It's not easy. It's not easy. We all do it. We want to get on the floor before the ball's even passed on. So here, right away, we're not trading. We're equal, parallel with the player, or we're ahead. In this situation, we're actually a step or two ahead. Trail means trail. We need to stay behind the basketball. So here we're ahead. We're in bad positioning. This is a trend that we're seeing. I see this all on almost every game that we've had. This is a situation we do. It's just some discipline. That's it. And then just making sure that we trail the play. All right. Pretty simple one, but just something that we're seeing consistently a lot. Next trail one. Again, transition. Right away, we just run. One, we're way too close to the play. We need to work more sideline oriented, and we need to stay behind. This is a situation where the ball has not even crossed free throw line extended. We should be off the floor. Off the floor. That's what I just talked about on the clip before. Stay off the floor, work your sideline, and then you can see through it. If the play continues to go towards the center, then we can start to move a little farther onto the floor. But again, we put ourselves in a really bad situation from the beginning. We don't know if there's illegal contact, if there's any kind of double dribble violation by the offense. We have no understanding right from the get-go. See how far? We're just so far ahead. Trail means trail. And again, probably possibly a foul there, but we're looking back. Should be looking up through the play. So again, there's many things that we need to work at trail, but the main focus that we need to work on is just staying behind the play and working more sideline orientated. That's what we're getting a lot from these evaluations as far as that. All right, now we're going to jump into the center position. And these, again, are all going to be positioning, trying to get to our starting spot. I talked to Martin about this, and he said, I just want to make sure the starting spot in high school is free throw line extended. I said, yes, it is. Okay, just wanted to make sure because we're just working so high at center. It's close to having almost 2 trails. So we'll just dive into these and take a look at things we can do better. This one is a transition play. Probably should actually had this one third. Need some more hustle for one. I'm not going to talk too much on Lee, but Lee needs to cut the floor, not run so wide. They're able to just run right to close down, but don't want to touch too much on Lee. But in these transition plays, we need to hustle more, and we need to try to get to our starting spot. So in this situation, we have our center table side opposite the floor. The play's coming right down the middle. We can see that Lee's going to struggle to get to the end line. We need to have some urgency here at center to continue to run, and try to get to your starting spot if you can. There's a kind of not some urgency, not a great some speed and some hustle in this. And then we possibly have some illegal contact at the rim, but we stop. Instead of running, getting to our starting position, trying to get to our free throw line extended, and then seeing this play all the way through. We just don't get there. I think all 3 referees on this certain play don't have, a lot of urgency to get where they need to get to in transition. I get it. Girls, boys, high school players, they're fast, but we still need to hustle when we can, and we are most vulnerable in transition. So here on this breakdown, DDR said this was a missed foul. So I'm not going to talk about judgment, but on the evaluation, they said this was a missed foul based on center never got to their starting position. They stopped short. So still, let's work hard all the way, follow that play. It's center's play. It's on their side of the rim. It's in their primary coverage area. It's the primary defender. We should have a whistle on this play. Next one, we'll get to these, which I should have done these ones first. We're going to go to just our starting spots on these. So again, we look at center over here. Center is going to be opposite table on this side. It looks like we actually have 2 trails. We can see trail is below 28-foot line, right around there. They're good. We're almost top of the 3-point line. Again, there's no reason we're in a half-court set that we don't take 2 steps down, and we got to get to our starting spot, which is free throw line extended. In this situation, we just don't get there. There's no reason. And we're kind of looking into space a little bit. This is our matchup right here. We need to find our matchup. If we're lower, those 2 players come flash right in front of our face. We're obviously going to pick that matchup up. Again, no movement. We're just staying there. Kids are moving, and we're just staying there. Right here, again, if we're at our home base, when this pass goes here, we take 1 step down. Now we can see offense, defense through it, and then we can even get into our secondary coverages right here in the paint with these cutters if we need to assist on any illegal action there. And we step up the floor instead of stepping down, right? We should be here, stepping down to assist. If there's any hit from the backside on 23, any illegal contact, it's on your side of the rim. This is center's primary coverage area. We're not going to be able to help. Or we're going to be too far and probably reluctant to put a whistle on the play. So we just got to work lower, and we've got to get to our starting spot, and then a step down or step up. In this situation, we would need to work lower and a step down. Our next clip's going to be a similar one to what we just talked about as far as just our starting position. Here, it's not a transition play. It's a walk up. So You can see lead's already in their position, trails at 28-foot line. There's no reason for our center to be this high. It's like we, again, almost have two trails. We never want two trails. Two centers is okay, but we do not want two trails. We need to step down. We should already been there before that ball even crossed half court. We should be at our starting position. Nothing happens on this clip. It's just, again, fundamentals and our positioning. And then we get to our spot. And if we get to our starting spot early, we're good. And then we can just reposition just how we need to based on what the status of the ball and the players are. So that's your second trend, right? Our first one where we talked about our trail, just not being connected, working either too high, and we got to work sideline orientated as far as that. Next one was our center position, just getting to our starting spot. That's what we need to do. Get to our spot. So when we work our ball games, especially here now we're in postseason, let's really work hard on just getting to our starting spots, and then we can, again, position adjust how we need to. The last one is our coverage. A lot of teams press in San Antonio. We know that a lot of guard-orientated teams. So I'm going to go over a couple of clips on ways we can be better to cover the floor and help, especially on pressure in the backcourt and plays that or traps that end up going to center side away from trail in the backcourt. So here's our first one. Well, we also need to do a better job. I think two of these clips are, we have 10 players in the backcourt. We only have 2 referees in the freeze frame. I don't know where our new lead is. Ball's here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We need to be, and I get this question a lot, is where do I go if I'm going to be new lead and I have nobody in the backcourt? You need to be 3 to 4 feet behind the most competitive matchup, the deepest matchup, which is these 2 players right here. So our new lead should be right in this area, 3 to 4 feet behind this competitive matchup. That would be their primary coverage area. This would be where they need to go to. So we're actually leaving 10 players in the backcourt for these 2 referees to adjudicate. That's tough. That's tough for even 3 of us to watch all 10. Imagine 2. So you'll see that we need to do better at this, is understanding a press coverage. If all 10 players are in the backcourt, we need all 3 referees in the backcourt as well. So this is where our new lead would need to be. Okay, so this is happening a lot as well, is where we have these traps on C side. So let's just back it up just a little bit here. Center needs to go to that second line of defense. All right, so here's the ball, here's the first line, here's the second line. So that's your trigger, is I'm center, I need to stay, I need to go find whatever the second line of defense is. It's going to be these 4 players right here. Center, they're too high. Again, if we would go right down, free throw line extended, this is where we need to be. All right, but they didn't take off. They're still in the backcourt, but positioning wise, we need to be free throw line extended to be in line with this second line of defense. So our center should be right around in this area, free throw line extended. When that ball comes in, now they can maybe stay right there or maybe just take 1 step. And now this is their primary coverage area. I see so often where center takes off, and then now our trail has to like bust it over all the way onto the floor or getting onto the other side of the floor to referee this matchup. There's no way trail can see that. This is center's primary coverage. They need to come back and help on this. This is where center needs to be taking care of that. There's no way we're going to expect our trail to referee this play from this far. They would literally have to go all the way to the other side of the floor where this SAN or the A on San Antonio is to referee that. Again, center needs to drop down, referee this play. We end up coming with a timeout, I believe. Yep. Okay, there's our 3rd referee. Again, our 3rd referee should have been here, and they can still help on the timeout. Can still listen, and if hopefully they don't need to turn, but they can understand that the coach is asking for a timeout. They don't need to be all the way standing next to the coach on that. Okay, next one should be, I believe it's a similar clip. Press coverage 2. So, sorry, same game, right out of the next timeout. I'm sorry, we came right out of a timeout. Again, we have 10 players in the backcourt. Where's our 3rd referee? Gone all the way down to the end line. Our lead is at the end line. They need to be This is their competitive matchup. They would need to be 3 to 4 feet behind them, which would probably be right here, just in the front court. And just some fundamentals where we need to work on is getting in the right position prior to the ball being inbounded. We need to be in great positions to assist on these end of game situations and press coverage trapping situations. And that was the clip on that here. And then as we can see, when we have the turnover right here is then when we see our new referee come into light right here. Again, we're just not helping anybody being down on the end line. So when you're in your game, just think, how am I helping my crew by being all the way down here, 30, 40 feet from the players? Obviously, I can't help in anything at all. So just something to think about when we get into our next ball games, where we need to be as far as our positioning on press coverages. And then the last one, it's a similar situation with what we just talked about, but this is, they're kind of bringing the ball up, slowly walking up, and then there's a quick trap, and then our center is out of position. So you'll see it here is the ball's coming up. We understand that Trell has this in the backcourt, but as soon as it crosses that half court, it's going to be center's primary. So we have to have an understanding that this ball is coming up the floor, and we also have 2 players down here. So we're kind of stuck right now where we have 2 people on the basketball. Okay. I would prefer that center would possibly, they're okay looking at this, but still looking up. If there's nothing ahead of them, they can certainly assist on this. Trell does a good job of trading the play, would probably need to step onto the floor and get into this middle lane to just have a better look and stay more connected. We don't want to be too sideline orientated on this play when the play's on the other side. And then here is where we need to have some hustle from center. And then again, if Trell was on the middle of the floor, they could probably see through this. Center needs to come in the backcourt and help. Needs to hustle back. And if there's a foul here, we have a jump ball, we have anything that's going on, center needs to assist. And they just kind of turn and look back. They're very far from the play. We need to have some urgency. This is the play that's going on right here. Again, look how far we are from this play. We have our Trell working too much sideline, and we had our center that's taken off and then doesn't want to come back on this. One last thing that we do up having a foul, I'm not going to talk about the foul, is we need to continue our counts. I did talk to DDR about our counts. California, they have shot clocks, we don't. So that was another situation we talked about, as far as that we have to have 10 seconds in the backcourt. They don't have that out there. So here, we need to continue to count, even if White was to possess the ball. It's not going to hurt you to take another count, because what happens is in this play is a tip, our count could continue. Trell stops their count here, but we have no understanding of if White has gained possession of this or they haven't. No idea. We don't know. Center needs to have some urgency. The count should continue. Should continue, because there is no gaining possession. They still would get across. It's very close, but we can't stop our count as far as that. And our C positioning just doesn't do a good job of coming back to assist. So those are the 3 aspects that we need to work on as far as our positioning, our movement at trail, and then on our center. Those are the trends that I've seen the most over the 12 evaluations we've had from DVR. They're consistent, and they also fit the games I've been a part of and also seeing. So just some things to think about. Again, please feel free to add some comments on the YouTube channel to be up there. And if Dinah wants to open it up to any questions, I appreciate your time. And everybody stay safe and healthy.